I know when you look at the first Advent and the time of the first coronation, up until that point, there was a typical reality, and that if you accepted and you followed as best as you understood, God accepted that. You see like Zacharias and Elizabeth, and it talks about them, keeping all the commandments of God blameless. But then after the cross, there was an antitypical reality of what all that had pointed to, that if you either accepted that greater antitypical reality or that truth that you had became a lie and darkness to you, a deception. And that same principle applies at this time of the second Advent and the second coronation, that there's been a level of understanding by Adventists that God has accepted, but now that Christ is actually moving, and there's actually this change in ministration of heaven, you need to come to accept and understand that greater antitypical reality, or the light that we've had will become darkness again.
Well, yes, and so this is the idea when we talk about Evans talk about the 144,000. They follow the Lamb with us wherever he goes. If he moves and you don't move with him, then you are no longer following him.
Yes,
And the idea of following the Lamb with us wherever he goes means that when he moves, you move. And
yes,
when he stops, you stop. I mean,
yes,
that's the whole concept of the Feast of Tabernacles.
yes. Just like at the
That's the
beginning of the
whole
Advent
concept of the
movement,
Feast.
when he went from the holy place to the most holy place, and Sister White talks about how Satan moved into the position that Christ had been in the holy place and was
Right.
counterfeiting his work and deceiving the masses. And so if Christ moves
All
again,
those who would not move, right. All
they,
those who wouldn't move when he moved, then they're
yes,
thinking they're part of Babylon.
they're open to
And that's
deception.
what happened to them.
Yes.
Right. And so this is the same idea. And so why is she writing that warning? Why is she writing that down?
Yeah.
Well, because if we don't move when he moves, that's what makes Revelation 14 so significant. I mean, it begins with this group of people that are moving when he moves.
Yeah.
And the question that has to be asked, that seems obvious to me, but nobody seems to ask. Everybody likes to argue about the 145. Are they literal? Are they spiritual? Is it symbolic? But I've never heard anybody ask, where's he going? He's
Yes.
moving. Where's he going? Where are they following him?
And even, like you,
And by the way, if he's the lamb on Mount Zion, there's only one place for him to go. He's coming down the mountain.
yes.
He's coming out of the sanctuary.
Yeah.
And we're
And even,
supposed to follow him as he moves.
and even for that, that's a big stumbling block for Adventists too, is the word sanctuary, because both the scriptures and Sister White in her writings use the word sanctuary to refer to the most holy place and the holy place. And so when you have statements like, when Christ leaves the sanctuary, in the mind
I
of an
know.
Adventist, that immediately means he's left heaven and all intercession is over. But no, there's still a work to do in the outer court, even when he's left
Right.
the sanctuary.
That's right.
But in the mind of 99.9% of Adventists, that's the show's over at that point. And they can't conceive of the idea that there's still a work of ministration to do after that.
Well, and because they're not comparing the way she uses the language. She'll say that he leaves the sanctuary, or she'll say he leaves the most holy place. She'll say the similar phrases and use different words, the different phrases, meaning the same thing, and they don't catch it.
Yes. And they miss in that, when she defines which she gets from the scriptures, when she defines the sanctuary as the most holy and the holy, she's very careful in those passages to then say there was also a work to do at the altar in the courtyard.
Right. Because that's where the Feast of Tabernacle happens.
Yes. And that's really where these final key scenes from Revelation 12 through 18 happen, is in the porch and the courtyard.
And then of course, if you actually look at the Day of Atonement, which we've talked about and I've shared, the Day of Atonement tells us that the three going in, the three times the high priest goes into the most holy place are just the beginning. The climax is the three-stage process, three-step process of him coming out. So not only is it Feast of Tabernacles, the highlight of the Feast of Tabernacles, but it is the actual cleansing of the sanctuary, is the three-step process of Christ coming out.
Yeah.
And so it's the fulfillment of the Day of Atonement. Feast of Tabernacles is the completion of the fulfillment of the Day of Atonement.
Yeah. And then, the whole worldview and mindset of seeing the whole book of Revelation as him going in, creates such barriers to understanding. Like in Revelation 11, when it talks about how it's seen in his temple, the ark of his testimony. Well, they and again, 99.9% will say, well, see, that's him. He's gone into the most holy place now. He was in the holy place in the trumpets, and now he's gone into the most holy place. Instead of the idea that he's actually come out to the courtyard and the curtains remained open, and you can actually see into the most holy
Right,
place.
right. That's right. Because as he comes out, the most holy place actually, he is the most holy place. All of the emblems of the most holy place come out with him.
Yes.
And the whole thing it's a throne that moves. That's Ezekiel.
Yeah.
And then as the throne moves and comes out to the porch and then go into the outer court, the whole throne moves.
Yeah. And actually, everything in his presence is becoming most holy
That's right.
or ceasing to exist. One of the two.
And that's what's clear, by the way, that obviously that's what's clear in the Bible when the most
Yes.
holy place is described, as we've talked about.
Yes. But if you're absolutely set on the idea that it's only that one inner part or compartment and can't be anything else, then that's a real
Yeah.
barrier.
Yeah. So, and I've heard this over and over again, this is the misunderstanding of the standing up of Mike, as if, well, as everything's done then, so nothing matters after that. It's
Mm.
like, instead of, again, the process.
Yes.
Yeah, all the symbolism, all the imagery, whether you go to Zechariah with the seven eyes, or you deal with a new song in the Psalms or in the Old Testament, all this, every time I look up the symbols of Revelation 5, it always leads me to kingship.
Yes.
And I've wrestled with my mind, Lord, is there something wrong with me? Am I making this say something that it's not saying? I wrestled with that for years because I thought it would just lose my mind. I said, okay, I'm gonna stop studying this kingship stuff. I'm just gonna go read some other part of the Bible. And then I'd go read some other part of the Bible, and it would just, it's like, here it is again. Here it is again. No matter where I go, there it was. It's like it sometimes I felt like Jonah. I kept running away from it, thinking maybe it's me. I keep seeing the same thing, and every time I'd go look somewhere else, there it was again.
Well, I think the insight that the last time the right hand is mentioned is in verse 1 there of chapter 5 is important. The emphasis on him being at the right hand of the throne is gone because now he's in the midst of the throne. He's
Well,
moved.
and that's what it says, right? Because
Yes.
actually the last reference is verse 7, but the idea is once he takes the scroll, now he's in the midst of the throne. And that's
Yes.
where the Lamb stands in the midst of the throne. He's no longer at the right hand. And
Yes.
again, that just it's another thing that I don't. The right hand of the throne is not upon the throne. And Hebrews chapter 8, verse 1 is so clear that the right hand of the throne is a high priestly position. So the high priest never, the literal physical high priest in the sanctuary never sat on the throne, never sat on the mercy. That never happened because that was not his place. He
Mhm.
was at the right hand of the throne.
So just the words that he came and took the scroll
Yes.
means that he wasn't.
And that's this phrase, sat on the throne, sat on the throne, sat on the throne. This is the phrase that keeps being repeated and repeated because this is the event. This is the promise. Remember, God gave to David that you or one of your descendants would sit upon the throne, and he would sit on the throne perpetually, forever. Well, that
That's right.
promise has never. That promise has, up to this point in time, has never been fulfilled. Jesus was never placed on the throne. The Son of David was never placed on the throne perpetually and permanently been on the throne. And his kingdom and his dominion is something that will never end. It'll be eternal. That event has never happened. That promise is the
Until
promise
now.
that's right. Until Revelation 5 and 6 and 7. That's right. Until that event takes place. And the churches in the church message to the seven churches, that event happens in the time of the church of Laodicea.
Hmm.
That's what the message to Laodicea tells you.
So there's one more message, actually. One more of on their right hands, and that's the mark of the beast
That's right.
Yeah.
in Revelation 13.
That's right.
It shows he's kind of in a counterfeit position.
Well, that's right. He's the false high priest king.
Yes.
He's trying to play the role of the Messiah there. And
Yes.
he's the true Antichrist.
Yes.
He's claiming to be king, and his mark is on the right hand. So he's establishing his high priest or his priesthood.
Yeah.
And in their minds.
And you see the same thing in Revelation 5 here. He says in verse 10, he has made us to be kings and priests unto our God, and we shall reign on the earth. Well, that's what's happening in Revelation 13. The false king is that now making his followers his priest, his bride, and they're going to try to reign on the earth.
Hmm.
So Revelation 13 is the antithetical to actually here in Revelation chapter 5.
Hmm.
And that is the seventh or the last reference in the book of Revelation to the right hand.
Hmm.
But in terms of the Lamb, Revelation 5:7 here is the last reference to Christ in terms of the right hand. Everything after this is refers to Christ in terms of kingly language.
Yes.
That he is clearly transitioned from high priest to king.